Hello everyone. Nowadays everyone knows what a virus is. Now if I say a virus can gradually develop a cancer in human body, would you believe me? It is very true, and today we are going to learn a very cheap but state-of-the-art scientific intervention which can save life and save life from cancer. This is pap smear. We have got a lot of women who doesn't even heard the name of the pap smear, but they need to know little bit about the detail of pap smear. Let's start today. Today we are going to learn what is pap smear and what exactly pap smear involves, where from the sample is taken. Is it a surgery? Is it an injection? Of course not, but we will understand what is that. And also we will understand what is the HPV virus and various other things about the pap smear. So let's start. For any virus infection, prevention is the best. That we all know today, sitting in 2021. And that is very true for women where a common cancer called cervical cancer is generated by a virus called human papillomavirus. And for women as well, human papillomavirus develops something called cervical cancer, which is a very common cancer in Indian women and African women too. And as much as we are losing about 6 to 8 women per hour because of this cancer, yet we do not know much about this. And today we are going to learn a very important preventive tool which is known as pap smear. It is a friendly, life-saving test which takes only few seconds to do. There is no surgery, there is no injection, there is no anesthesia at all. And actually you can visit your doctor during your lunch hour and get the test done and go back to your office, to your desk work. A very true and real weapon against a common cancer of women which is known as cervical cancer. During the pap smear, the doctor picks up very delicate floating cells from the uterine cervix via the natural passage and sends them for a microscopy test. Pap smear checks the health of the cervix, which is basically at the neck of the uterus. If you do not know what the cervix is, please watch out our videos or ask here in the comment, because you will need to know where the cervix is to understand what the pap smear is. Actually, the aim of the pap smear is to detect the precancer cell from a tiny area of human cervix. And by doing that, we actually pick up the precancer cells from the cervix and it can be treated very effectively and you can defeat cancer. But please to remember, having pap smear does not mean that you have got cancer. It is just a very effective way to avoid cancer. Cervix is an important organ. The problem is when the disease actually starts in the cervix, whether it's a precancer or cancer, it does not give you any symptoms. But the precancer takes about 5 to 15 years to develop into a cancer. When women started to have a lot of problems because of the cervical cancer, World Health Organization spent millions of dollars on researches and invented a patient-friendly pap smear technique, the aim of which is actually pick up the abnormal cells from the cervix when you still do not have any symptoms of cervical cancer. The cervical cancer symptom starts the day the cervix is fully involved and it erodes into the blood vessels by the side of the cervix, and that day it may be very difficult to treat cervical cancer. So your best bet is to zap the cancer, to treat the cancer before it develops into cancer, that means in the precancer stage, by means of doing regular pap smear. Pap smear is taken from uterine cervix, which is basically neck of the uterus. Fortunately, we do not need to do a surgery or operation to see the cervix. It is seen through the natural passage, which is the vagina. We just need to use a very smooth instrument, special instrument, to separate the skins of the natural passage, and we can shine the light and we can see the cervix quite well. And the doctors use a very soft brush to pick up the delicate soft cells which are floating on the cervix to check various issues on the cervix. During the same test, modern pap smear can actually detect traces of human papillomavirus or HPV virus. As this test picks up very delicate floating cells from the cervix, it is important preceding 3 days when you have the test, you should not have any intervention in your vagina or the birth passage. If you do not know what the vagina is or what the vulva is, please do watch out our other videos or read our blog posts regarding that. Also, for the same reason, sexual intercourse should be avoided during preceding 3 days of pap smear. And by all means, before you have any test done like pap smear, you should read about it, know about it, and ask your doctor all about it so that you feel confident to have that same test done. There are few precautions you need to take after you have your pap smear. Very uncommonly, women can have some spotting of bleeding or something like that, so it is always best to use a sanitary towel as you leave the clinic. If you have not put it inside your bag, just ask in the clinic and I'm sure they will give one. And please to remember to check before you leave the clinic when the results will come. Usually it takes between 4 to 5 working days. After you get the result, please do not forget to show it to the doctor. And after you have shown it to a doctor, please set an alarm in about 3 years' time or when the doctor says your next pap smear is due so that you do not forget. Last but not the least, you must not forget to share this information with your colleagues and friends because you have touched the state-of-the-art science and let them touch it too so that they can save their lives. It is of course very surprising why life-saving skills like pap smear, which is widely available, still not very popular in India. I think there are many psychological reasons behind not having pap smear. Generally, people do not like to go to doctors, and when they have got some pressing symptoms, that symptom will force them to go to a doctor. But pap smear, which is done during the time of health, that means women do not have any symptoms during that time. They do not like to go to the doctors. They do not perhaps remember to go to doctors. They do not most importantly think it is as important to go to doctor. For unknown reasons, print and visual media as well in India are very reticent about it. They do not speak much about pap smear unless of course someone pays and advertises on those medias to say about pap smear. And also Indian actresses, cricket stars or football players should come out and say about pap smear, spread the good message. And of course, till they do not do that, you as an educated person go and spread this good message about pap smear and you can save a lot many people's life by sharing this information. Yes, in women as well, in spite of knowing all this, there is a little bit of reluctance. But I firmly believe that if they are given the true information, the real information, the actual threat of the problem and how can pap smear save a life of women and actually save their family, they will definitely attend for pap smear. Of course, pap smear is a test where privacy has to be respected very well, and we take all the precautions so that privacy demand of the patient is very well respected. There will be a nurse before, during and after procedure with the patient to make her feel more comfortable so that she can have the pap smear very well and confidently. So I hope you could learn more about pap smear and you will feel confident to have pap smear. Please spread the knowledge to your neighbors, to your colleagues and to your friends regarding the pap smear because it can really save lives.